What's up guys, Robin here, and in today's video I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the game that is going to make me buy a PS5. So the final trailer for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth finally released, and alongside it, Sony also hosted a state of play in which they spent 20 fucking minutes talking about the game, and oh boy, am I hyped. I mean, it's more like 15 minutes because the trailer they showed was like 6 minutes, but still. So in today's video, I'm basically going to do a summary of what they showed in the state of play, and at the end, I'll give you my opinion about the game and why this is the first true game to come out this year, and also the first truly next-gen exclusive for PS5. So they started the state of play talking about the world of the game, and it seems like they intend to do this sort of a semi-open world game like Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I think the degree of freedom we're gonna get on Rebirth is going to be bigger. And it also seems like we're going to be able to revisit regions at will, which is a nice improvement because I remember that in Final Fantasy VII Remake there were certain areas that if you left them behind you wouldn't be able to come back and get all the collectibles. One thing that wasn't very clear is if there's going to be a loading screen between the regions, or if I'm just going to be able to traverse through them on foot or mounted on a chocobo, for example. After that, they showed us the 8 regions that constitute the map of the game, those being the Grasslands, the Junon region, the Coral region, the Gongaga region, the Cosmo Canyon, the Nibel region, the Meridian Ocean, and even though they didn't talk about it, the Northwood region. So out of all those regions that they shown, one that really caught my eye was the Coral region. That resort looks so good, and it seemed like it's going to have some sort of duality between the resort and like the apparently poor surrounding area. It looks like it's going to be an interesting dynamic there. Other than that, I'm also very excited for the Nibel region, since it's Cloud's and Tifa's hometown, and the Gongaga region, that seems to be going for more of a jungle look. And also, I saw some temples there on the background, so we may come across a lost tribe or something. Now, to be fair, I did like all the regions, but I'm not going to talk about all of them because otherwise this video would get way too big. Next, they talk about the world intel. So, Chadley is going to be back in this game, and it seems like he's going to have more of a prominent role than just giving special materials and creating combat scenarios for you, since it seems like he's going to unlock areas of the map and also highlight points of interest. Also, Chadley in this game almost seems like a hub of activities you can do, since it looks like every investigation you do for him, at least the major ones, will have a side mission attached to them, so those might be a good way of getting to know the world better. Then they proceeded to talk about odd jobs that are contracts that Cloud as a merc can do throughout the world, and though those are nothing more than secondary missions, I must admit those seem to have some very interesting storylines. And the cool thing about those is that they're going to boost the level of friendship you have with the members on your team, impacting certain missions and situations. But they will refer to friendship levels later on the video, so I'll talk about them later as well. Also, they mentioned that they're going to add new missions that were not present on the original game, so you OGs can look forward to that. After that, they talked about the minigames, and bro, the amount of minigames this game has is crazy, and I love it. I always liked minigames in games, and Final Fantasy VII did a good job with them, but I always wish there were more of them, and I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to fulfill my craving for minigames in a way no other game did. They showed 9 new minigames that weren't present in the remake, and the motorbike and the dolphin one seem like they're going to be a blast to play, but the one where you're marching with the troops is just too damn crazy, and I can't wait to try it. Then they talked about the story, but do I really need to tell you that the story is going to be amazing? Of course not, you already know that, that's why you're watching this video. Then they talked about the graphics, and come on, they speak for themselves. I mean, look at this, it's just beautiful. Then they show how every character is going to move around, and they show Yuffie swinging around with a sort of lasso or whip, and then they show Bad Tifa with a grappling gun. I wonder how she got that. Oh yeah, and Barrett shoots tanks as usual, Red 13 climbs shit, Kate throws some objects, oh, and Aerith took some classes in Hogwarts and makes staff magic to manipulate the live stream. Yeah, that's basically it. On the music department, they said they were going to keep some tracks from the original, but they also want to bring a new fresh touch to the Rebirth. So they recorded over 400, yes, you heard me right, 400 tracks for the game. And then they talk a bit more about the friendship system and how the Gold Saucer Date is going to have new options that weren't available on the original. And finally, we get to talk about the meat and potatoes of the game. Combat! So they said it's still in the mode of the remake combat, but your party level that increases with the level of friendship I mentioned earlier allows you to unlock more powerful moves from the ability tree. Then you can also change up your party and make different combinations of attacks and synergies between characters. There, that's it. That's the summary of everything they talked about. Now, my opinion on this game is that it's going to be the first actual PS5 exclusive, because up until this point we haven't got a single game that I honestly thought that a PS4 couldn't run. I mean, you could try to argue Spider-Man 2, but if we tone down the graphics and increase loading times, the PS4 could run it down perfectly. And I don't think this is the case with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think that if you try to run it on PS4, there would be a ton of stutter and the game would basically become a slideshow during combat. And I don't think toning down the graphics would solve it, especially when for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the graphics are going to play a major role to bringing us closer to the world and the characters who inhabit it. Also, why do I think this is going to be the first real game of 2024? Well, for starters, because it's going to be complete on launch, which is a rarity in today's gaming industry. Secondly, it doesn't have any microtransactions, and I know the game hasn't released yet, but if Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has a microtransaction in it, I'm going to do an 8 video on it, and I promise it to you. And more important than that, they prioritize making a good game instead of sales and profiting off of it. This is a game made with passion and love, and then again, if it comes out and it's lacking, you can expect my hate videos saying why I'll never trust a video game company in my life again. Concluding, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a love letter for the fans, and it isn't just another game, it is the game, aka Goty 2024.